Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Happy June. Welcome to Spiritual Center Spokane. My name is Reverend Bonnie, and I am here with you tonight, Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Pacific time. And I am either here with you live or I have posted a video if I'm unable to make that time slot. So you can be guaranteed that I'll either be live or a video will drop at 6 o'clock Tuesdays Pacific time. And what we do together is called talk and practice. So I give a little bit of talk about my week and how I met it spiritually. So, how I live, people have been fascinated with how I live since I've had a spiritual practice now for over 35 years, a daily practice. And the question is, what does it look like? How do you apply it? And so it's okay, I'll just talk about it. So I'll talk about it and then we'll go into meditation together. Typically, this is an hour in length, and I've decided that instead of having the hour guide me, that I will go as long or short as necessary, and it'll probably be less than an hour on Tuesdays. So, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. This was a very interesting week. I have, for the past 3.5 months, been on an outwardly directed, meaning my doctor has told me, outwardly directed diet eating plan. And it's kind of a cross between the Mediterranean diet and the keto diet. It's kind of it's basically, I'll tell you what it is. It's protein, vegetables, nuts, and berries. That's about it. And so I've been doing that now for 3.5 months with great results. It's just delightful. However, on this last Thursday, my body became so tired of eating what I'm now calling slabs of protein because the new research says that our bodies are to have a ton of protein, and it's like 100 to 200 grams a day. It's a lot. And so my doctor wanted me to have protein breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so it ended up being predominantly meat, poultry, seafood based protein, like an animal kind of protein. And my body has no problems with eating non vegetarian, but to have that much is too much on my system. And so come Thursday, my body said, "Enough, stop, I've had it." And all I could do was drink water. So I got up Thursday morning and started drinking water, Q, and and then throughout the day, I thought, "Oh, I'll add celery juice to it," because what I know from fasting, I've done many fasts, many spiritual fasts and physical fasts, meaning for different intentions. And what I know is that we can make up our own rules. So you can decide that coffee can be a part of it, tea can be a part of it. I'm not giving you medical advice, by the way. I'm sharing with you my story. So what I knew was that as I was drinking the water that I, in my mind, could add, it could be all liquids, it could be a special form of liquids. I could make up what I was going to do with my body. So I checked in with my guidance and I was guided to do green juice or celery juice and water. So I did that for day 1, and I sat outside in my backyard, and it was heaven. It was heaven. And I shouldn't say I just sat. I pulled weeds, I watered plants. I just was outside, and I was breathing the beautiful Spokane air this time of year. And I was sitting under my maple tree in the backyard, and I was just taking in all of the green, and my being loved it. I felt like I was being re-energized and recharged. It was just delightful. And I did that Thursday, and I did that Friday, and I did that Saturday. So I ended up taking what was just a kernel of a desire to stop, and I took what I call a pause, a rest pause, a pause with my body, a pause with my spirit, a pause with my activity, a pause with my being, and I just rested. I rested and I drank water and I drank celery juice and I was outside. And it was absolute heaven, nothing short of absolute heaven. And I wrote in my journal, and I want to show you my journal because I love this company. So my journal is a book. In this case, it's the Are You My Mother Dr. Seuss series. But I have bought this with a science book that had been converted into a journal, and I've done this with a Joan of Arc biography that was turned into a journal, and I give these as gifts sometimes, they're magnificent. So I wanna show this, Are You My Mother? And then it's the actual book itself, and then there's pages here as a journal, and you can write in there throughout the book. And the company, you can order these online, that I don't get any profit from this, I'm just showing you because I love this product, is bookjournals.com. Bookjournals.com. So I was out with my Are You My Mother book, and I was taking notes, I was journaling, I was talking to God, I was praying, I was meditating, I was singing, I was just doing repetitions of gratitude. I was so grateful. I was grateful to be alive. I was grateful to be outdoors. I was grateful for the beauty. I was grateful that I could receive it. Oh, I was grateful that my body was having a break. I was grateful that I was taking a break. I was grateful for the pause. I was grateful for all the people I love and who love me back. I was grateful for the good food that I was eating, even though it was a lot of protein. And I just was grateful, and it felt so good. And 3 days of it was exceptional. And what happened after those 3 days was that I found myself in the flow, and I have missed her. I have missed being in the flow. And I started manifesting like crazy. And it was so much fun to be connected and to be flowing and to just be like every pore of my body was open receiving. And all we ever really do from God is receive. And so when we give, we are giving everything that divine presence have given us. We give that or share that with others. So there's nothing that I am or that I have that is uniquely mine. Even my skills and talents, even though I did the work to develop them, they were gifts from God. They were abilities that came with me in my system available to be nurtured and nourished, and they were gifted by divine presence. So I just, when I was outside, was awake and aware of this receptivity, which was so beautiful. So, one of the things that I am aware of is that it's part of a regular spiritual practice for all major world religions and for spirituality, like shamanism and others. It's part of the practice to fast. And it's because when our body isn't digesting, we can give our conscious and unconscious attention to presence. We aren't busy, our body isn't busy at work as much. It isn't laboring so much that it really is a pause or a rest or a retreat. And so it is often a spiritual practice for clearing, one for transformation, one as a preparatory tool. It's used for cultivating insight. It's used as part of a forgiveness practice. The last man who I dated was Jewish, and he did every single year the Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, and that day is a day that is spent also fasting along with doing your atones for the year. And so that is a practice of release and letting go. So that too is part of a fast. So if you choose to fast, to be responsible, I need to say that you should ask your medical professional first. For me, what happened was I've done so many in my lifetime that I'm comfortable with doing it and trusting myself. And so I went from my external medical voice as an authority to my own internal intuitive acceptance. So it for me was so powerful to say no to this practice I'd been doing for 3.5 months, the one of the eating plan, and just stopping and saying, my body says no, I'm going to listen to it. And so there was something so powerful about moving from the outer to the inner, moving from an outer authority to an inner authority. There was something really powerful about trusting my insides, and it had me think of the Gospel of Thomas. And the Gospel of Thomas is a Nag Hammadi gospel. And that means that in 1945, it's part of a group, a collection, a library of gospels that were found in Upper Egypt in a place called Nag Hammadi. And one of those gospels was the Gospel of Thomas. And Thomas talks a lot about inner nutrients, nurturing your inner self. And here's one of the things that he says that is so beautiful. And this one is translated by Thomas Lamb Dim. And on verse 3, it goes, Jesus said, if those who lead you say to you, see, the kingdom is in the sky, then the birds of the sky will precede you. If they say to you, look, it's in the sea, then the fish will precede you. Rather, the kingdom is inside of you and it is outside of you. When you come to know yourselves, then you will become known and you will realize that it is you who are the. I got goosebumps with that. But if you will not know yourselves, you will dwell in poverty, and it is you who are the poverty. So let me read that again, but change the gender there. Jesus said, if those who lead you say to you, see, the kingdom is in the sky, then the birds of the sky will precede you. If they say it's the sea, then the fish will precede you. Rather, the kingdom is inside of you and it is outside of you. When you come to know yourselves, and you will become known, and you will realize that you are mother, capital M, poverty, and it is you who are that poverty. And poverty means small souled. It doesn't mean financially impoverished. It means that you are poor because you haven't found your true self. You are the poverty itself. If you don't go within, then you can't find the without. And so this was so precious for me to be at that level of peace within myself and to journal about it and to realize that my insides can be at peace while the outside world is completely chaotic. And so the idea that I can bring that peace into the world, that I have the peace within me, whether it's seen by the world or not, that I can dwell in that holy, sacred place within. Wow. That it was so powerful for me these last 3 days, I can't even put words on it. And to sit and watch a butterfly landed on my hand, and to watch the butterfly land on my hand and then just watch as it sat there and then flew away. It was beautiful, and to hear the birds in the trees, and they're singing and singing and singing this time of year, it's so gorgeous. And then to see the grass, how quickly it grew from the time I mowed it last week. It was really pretty quite tall. And to put my toes in it, like, it was so amazing, and my backyard is not attractive. Like, if you would come into my backyard, you just go, that could use a lot of work." Like, there's not any pretty furniture, there's a lot of wires, street wires that go from the, electric pole that's in the alleyway, and it's just not an attractive backyard, but I didn't know that. It felt like absolute heaven to me, and I was transported into something very enchanted. It was just delicious. Wow. So then, the other thing, at as I became aligned and in the flow, then I just started noticing all kinds of manifestations happening, and it was so much fun to watch them unfold. And it was like, "Oh, there's," and I'll call them miracles, but they're manifestations, but they're things that my soul really desired, and then they were there. And there was a lot of them, one after the next after the next. And as they unfolded, I wondered, did I want them before they showed up because they were coming? Or did they come because I wanted them? So it was this really interesting contemplative moment. So one of the things I did was I had bought this book called The Book of Awakening by the poet Mark Nepo. And I heard about this book on a podcast, and I have some of Mark's poetry books. And this is one of those, I call them dailies, where you turn to the day and you read what it has to tell you for the day. And Mark calls it a little dose of what matters. And I think that he's right, the author and poet who wrote it. So when I got the book, I immediately turned to the very first day that I was reading it, and in my case, it was May 30th, so I turned to May 30th, read it, and then continued on every day. It's been part of my daily practice, but then I've gone back to the very beginning and started reading the days, so now I'm up to February, so at some point, they'll cross and come together. But I wanted to read you 1, maybe 2 days before we go into meditation together. So this is from May 31st, and you can close your eyes and listen, or listen. This is May 31st, and it's called Seeing Through Another's Eyes. And he starts every reading with a little quote, and this says, "Now I have no choice but to see with your eyes, so I am not alone, so you are not alone." And that's Ioannis Ritsos. And here's the body of what he wrote. He said, "There's a story of Gandhi that reveals how profound and daring his sense of compassion is. It occurred during one of his famous hunger strikes. A man whose daughter was killed came in anguish, saying to Gandhi that he would stop fighting if the great soul would eat. But Gandhi knew the healing was deeper than just stopping the violence, and so he told the man he would eat only when the tormented father embraced the man who killed his daughter. Gandhi would only eat if the tormented man would embrace the murderer of his daughter. It is said that that man collapsed into tears, but did as Gandhi asked, and the larger conflict ended. This is an enormous thing to ask of someone in grief, of someone who's been violated. But beyond the vast courage needed to incorporate this kind of love into our daily lives, Gandhi's request reveals the irrefutable wisdom that only when the broken are healed, no matter what they have done, will we as people heal. It's hard to comprehend how this works, yet the mystery of true forgiveness waits in letting go of our ledgers of injustice and retribution in order to regain the feeling in our heart. And so I'm forced to look into my own small life and into my own small and all consuming pains and ask, who am I? Why can't I forgive the wrongs done me? Why can't I more than forgive, but begin to trust again? Hmm. Whew. We can understand agape love, the love of God, the love of the infinite, when we are able to love that which we believe to be unlovable. And in the very, very beginning of my talks back in January, I think it was in February-ish, I started talking about the power of loving every single emotion as it rises within us. Because in loving that emotion and being able to sit with it and be with it, we love all of the stories attached to it. Or I shouldn't say it that way. I should say by loving the emotion that comes up, it infuses that love into all the stories that are attached to it. That when I am able to sit with and love hatred, love injustice, all these feelings within my body, when I am able to sit and to love myself, my feelings, and not need to project that out onto someone else, not need to make someone wrong, not needing to punish or hurt or retaliate, but to be centered and stand witness to those emotions from love, my life changes. And that's been my commitment this year, is to be with all of it, to be with all of it and allow that change, that transformation to happen. And so Gandhi is saying to this dad, go to the person who murdered your daughter and forgive them. And that's a big ask. And according to the story, it changed the entire trajectory of this war. One person can make a huge difference. That was powerful. So here's May 30th, the first day that I read. It's called A String of Todays. If not now, when? Now, when Mark Nepo wrote this book, he was going through healing himself from cancer. And he wrote the book after his healing. But what happened during his illness and healing process was he awakened. And that's pretty common, that if we allow ourselves with a health challenge to listen to it, to interface with it, to befriend it, to work consciously and lovingly and spiritually in a healing process, we awaken. It becomes a teacher for us. And that was true for him. So he wrote this book during that time period of his life. So he starts on May 30th. He says, since surviving cancer, there's a burning bit of truth I live with every day. Sometimes it doesn't let me sleep, but most of the time it brings me great joy. No one uttered this to me, and I didn't arrive at it or work at it. It just revealed itself, the way a broken bone makes us re-feel the immense pressure in air. And this bit of truth is, if not now, when? It keeps coming down to this. There is no tomorrow, only a string of todays. Still, like most of us, I was somehow taught to dream forward, to fill the future with everything that matters. Someday I will be happy. When I am rich, I will be free. When I find the right person, then I will know love. I will be loving and happy and truthful and genuine then. But almost dying seared the sense of future from me. And though I expect to live a very long time, though I make plans and look forward to many things I plan, I have no choice but to dream now. To start out, as I always have, pouring the best of me into an imagined time yet to be. But then I hear, if not now, when? And the best of me floods back to the only place it truly knows now. This all helps me understand a story about Jesus very differently. I'm thinking of the young rich merchant who approaches Jesus after a Sermon on the Mount. He admires Jesus so, is truly touched and wants to join him. So he asks with great sincerity what he needs to do with arrangements that need to be made. And Jesus opens his arms and says, "Come with me now. Drop everything and come." The young merchant stumbles and cites as many yes buts. He can't leave his business so suddenly. He has to leave word. He'll need to gather new fresh clothes. How much money should he bring? With his open arms, Jesus simply says one more time, "Come with me now." How often do we all rehearse this morning, put this moment, putting off love, truth, joy, and even God, citing our many yes buts to ourselves, when all we have to do, hard and simple as it is to drop everything and to come now. Isn't that beautiful? And I just have been aware my entire life for some reason that I won't be here forever. Like, I haven't thought that my physical body's gonna be on this planet Earth forever. So I have always had the perspective of right timing and what is mine to do, I am to do. So there hasn't been a lot of put offs. The one thing I've put off is walking the Camino. I really want to do that. And I will want to do that in the next 5 or 10 years. But the that's the only thing I've wanted to do that I haven't yet done. And I think I'll know when the timing is right and when I'm really called to go and do it. So beside that, if I have been called, I've gone. And if the curiosity has pulled me, I followed it. So I haven't been someone who's been waiting until. And I know that a lot of people that I've coached and a lot of friends and colleagues have had that patterning, and that it's a great reminder from Mark to wake up and say, Jesus said, "Come now." I mean, now. And now is a place in consciousness that is eternal. Now is not simply a time structure in linear space-time. It is a portal into the divine presence, the now, the now, the now, the now. So let's go ahead and meditate. I think we'll be through a bit early tonight, and I'm okay with that. I'm wanting to take as long as it needs, and it doesn't always need an hour. So let's go ahead and make ourselves comfortable. Let's close our eyes. Let's take a nice big stretch. And move our arms as we exhale. Let's do that again. Aware with our exhale that we're opening our chest cavity where our heart resides. Oh, how beautiful that is. How absolutely beautiful that is. Mm. And so we feel our feet on the ground, on Gaia, on Mother Earth. And we allow ourselves to feel the bottom of our feet interfacing with Mother Earth herself. And as we breathe in energy from the mother. And as we exhale anything within our being that is asking to be transformed. I always say that the earth transforms poop into manure, so it can take any kind of residue for me and turn it into something good, something usable. And let's go ahead with our eyes closed and just practice giving attention to our body as we breathe in and out. And I like to place my attention on my skin and feel the interface between the visible and the invisible. And notice what parts of my body are vibrating, what parts are opening. And Mark Nepo asked us the question, what are we planning for in the future? And when you get an answer, just see if you can move up the timeline, if it can be a now, this moment in consciousness. So, what is calling you in the future, and can you experience it in the now, in consciousness? Can you feel it? Can you see it? We're coming out of poverty and consciousness. We're touching our soul. We're going within and we're asking, what have we projected into the future that we can experience energetically in the now? And just allow that feeling tone to just expand throughout your body temple. And if you don't know what is next, just allow yourself to just be present with what is. The fallback is always the now. What are you feeling now? And I give thanks to the heavenly host, to the presence of God, to the angels, the archangels. I give thanks to our inner guidance. I give thanks to all of it for bringing the desire up and through us. I give thanks for sitting in it. I give thanks for the goodness and glory of God. And I give thanks that we can return to this place anytime we meditate. And we're going to stay with our eyes closed in this field. And we're going to go to the first reading of Mark Nepo today, where he spoke about forgiving the perceived unforgivable. And just notice within yourself if there's anyone or anything that your soul desires to forgive. And all we have to do is just place a picture of that person in our heart or in front of our third eye. Let that serve as a hologram as we ask the Holy Spirit within to do the work of cleansing, of forgiving, of healing, of uplifting. And that the love of God that we access through our being is loving us right now. And the vision that we have, the visual that we have, the symbol that we experience right now. That there is no limit to love. We're not asking for a teaspoonful. We're not asking for a human construct. We're asking for the divine that has existed since before the thing we call time and will exist long after it. The energy field of the infinite that knows what it's doing with and through humanity. We allow that energy to do the healing and the revealing and the uplifting and the transforming. And now we release that picture, that symbol, back out into the field, and we see ourselves in front of us. And we just love all of the feelings that we have. We love the feeling of betrayal, even though it's uncomfortable and icky. We love the feeling of the letdown, meaning the energy that emanates from us. We're allowing it to land in a field of love. Disappointment, frustration, hatred, injury. We just allow ourselves to love ourselves through this. Under no circumstances will I abandon myself. That God, the good, is here in service. And so, as we see ourselves in our heart and in front of us, we just send pure love. We allow the light of God that lives in every one of our cells to just love through us. And what I know is that the strength of God is supporting you, the love of God is cradling you, and the joy of God is waiting to emerge. And let's place our attention back on our feet and allow any excess energy that needs to go down through our body temple, out our feet, into the ground, and keep your attention on your feet on the ground. And repeat after me, there's no limit to God's love. I have the love of God within me. There's no limit to God's faith. I have the faith of God within me. There's no limit to God's joy. I have the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. And so I give thanks that the presence of God and all of its many attributes and qualities is right where I am and right where you are, and that we are never, ever abandoned, that the goodness and glory of God is always blessing us, and that we have the privilege of receiving that blessing and passing on blessings. And so I just give thanks that God the good is with us now, is in operation. I give thanks that God the good is energetically kissing each one of us in delight, that we showed up today and said yes to its energetic self. And so I just give thanks for the unfolding of this divine love as my life, as your life, as the life of each person listening to this. And I know that for this we are made better. And for this I give thanks, and so it is. Amen. And as we open our eyes today, I just give thanks for you for your willingness to play with me in the field. I give thanks for your willingness to be vulnerable and to open and to connect with your soul. And I give thanks to you for trusting the divine presence within you in order to experience a more expanded self. So may your first week of June be spectacular. And may you absolutely, totally, and completely enjoy this week. And from my heart to you, I say thank you and God bless you. And so it is. Amen.